I'm gonna go watch heckin' Alita.
You do?
No, I just said I don't.
Oh,
you
dude,
clearly do.
I thought I was like, you do? Well, I don't mind it. I honestly am not gonna judge it before I see it.
I've said it. If the boys go and see it, I'll see it with them. But I'm not seeing it otherwise.
Yeah, that'd be weird. I'm not gonna go like see it by myself. That's not a movie I could do that with. After my going by myself experience. Never want that to happen.
To what movie?
A Dragon Ball movie.
Oh.
Saw it, and there's a guy behind me smoking weed. It was awesome.
Yeah, you told us about that.
Disgusting.
All right.
Howdy doody.
Let's make Derek shut his effing phone off.
Dude, no, his workout jam is on.
This is not my workout jam. It just started playing the Ready Player One soundtrack.
If you like anime, if you're like trying to get into it, watch Attack on Titan. I could do a podcast on Attack on Titan.
Derek's already watched it.
I've watched episode 1.
Yeah, he watched the whole first episode.
I'm in the middle of the entire first season. At the end of the first season. Finger guns.
What about the live action Attack on Titan movies? Let's just do those.
Dude, you don't watch live action animation.
Then why do you want to see Alita?
Yeah, I want to see Alita.
Is that an anime?
Yes. Well, it's a manga. I don't know if there is an anime.
But see,
about
like,
Alita.
when like Dragon Ball came out, it wasn't like a big deal like Alita is.
Yeah, because
it was trash. Because Dragon Ball was trash in live action.
Yeah, and
There's a
Alita's...
live action Dragon Ball?
Oh, dude, it's so bad. Dude, we could totally do a podcast on it. It'd be hilarious. Like
that and Avatar: The Last Airbender live action.
Dude, I was gonna say, if you're gonna stick with the theme of like bad superhero kids movies, you could also go like that and Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I love that movie.
Those would be
Dude.
pretty tonally similar.
I loved that movie when I was a kid.
You could also do live action Dragon Ball and Ben 10 Race Against Time because they're the same plot.
It's already painful.
Is that the one where he like turns into the bad guy and he turns like to an adult and he's like, I didn't cry because you poked me. I cried because I got something in my eye or something at the end.
Yes.
It's like, who's this guy? I remember liking Diamond Head's look in it. I don't remember now though.
It was so bad. I watched a whole video breaking down everything wrong with it.
Was it like Black Panther fighting
so
scene
funny.
when they're falling? CGI bad?
The train sequence.
A lot of it was. Some of it was genuinely better than Black Panther's. And it came out, and it was a straight to TV.
It's like
low budget.
I guess we can talk more about that during that podcast episode. But
Are you recording right now?
Yes.
I just hope this all makes it in.
Yeah,
this will be the cold open. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand...
What's up, my buttercups?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new Extremely Low Budget podcast. Episode number... 22. It's only been 2 weeks since the trivia one.
Uh-huh.
I've been gone for a while.
So, this week we performed a ritual. Dalton died again. We just didn't tell you this time. We performed a ritual, and really... Alex is here with us. It's Alex's body, but we put Dalton's soul in his body. So really, Alex's perfect attendance is still here, and his soul is just in Dalton's body, and that's why Dalton will be joining us this episode. But really, it's Alex.
The plot of the Extremely Low Budget podcast gets more and more convoluted every week.
I don't even think people come here for the podcast. They just want to hear the story of why people are gone now.
Yeah.
I almost didn't make it to this episode or the next episode.
Yes.
But I'll be in both.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Unless I die within the next hour.
All right.
It's possible. All right.
Let him know, Derek. What are we talking about this week?
Okay, so today Kyle will introduce the real podcasters with funny names, and then
Oh my
I'll tell us
God.
what we're talking about.
I'm so glad you guys don't ask me to do it. You asked me to do it once, and I think I was so bad. You guys are like, don't ask him again.
Let's see. I guess Derek will be the upset for no reason Russian guy this week.
I'm okay with that.
Dalton gets to be the
Edward Norton.
almost no. Dalton's the almost MCU Doomsday, but not MCU Doomsday because he's Abomination. Does that make sense?
Are you trying to say you don't like Abomination?
Are you trying to say you don't like me?
What? And I will be Iron Man.
That's stupid! You don't even like Iron Man!
If we're being real, I'm okay with that. I'm alright.
I'm not okay
But I
with
think
that.
Derek would be Hulk, and I would be Cap.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's how we were when we were
Cap's not
kids.
in this episode.
Yes, he is.
He's in the next one.
Oh, what movie? What movies are we going over?
We are going over. Okay,
Iron
so-
Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2, right? Those are the ones?
Yes.
Sweet.
So what's happening right now is leading up to Avengers Endgame.
Woo,
At
woo,
the-
actually leading up to Captain Marvel. No, it's not,
No,
but who cares about
it's
that
leading
movie?
up to Avengers Endgame. Captain Marvel will be thrown in the mix somewhere in between when we do all of this.
Fair enough.
Leading up to Avengers Endgame, at the end of every month, we will be dedicating 2 episodes to reviewing a segment of the MCU. If it's not clear, today we're doing the Phase 1 beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're going to do Phase 1 Part 1, where we talk about the first 3 MCU films that came out. That's going to be Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2.
Yes.
Next week, we'll be finishing MCU Phase 1 with MCU Phase 1 Part 2. And in that one,
Okay.
we'll be talking about Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers.
Hell yeah.
All right.
That's
Let's
all. Man, that seems.
go. I know.
Yeah, it seems a little short, but that's how it is, I guess. All right. Yeah.
It's because Phase 3 is so long. I feel like Phase 2 wasn't super long.
Phase 2, what do you got?
You guys both looked up at the poster.
Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Cap 2, Guardians, Age of Ultron.
Is
So
he
you
that's
really
it.
only have 5 movies.
Oh, Ant-Man technically is
That's
Phase
Phase
2.
2.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's not 3?
I'm positive that that's Phase 2.
Okay, so
Doctor
maybe
Strange came out after Civil War.
You have 6 movies,
Uh-huh.
and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
So
8,
Phase 3 would be
9
Civil War,
movies in
Strange,
Phase 3.
Guardians 2,
because
Thor.
Phase 3 includes Captain Marvel and
Yes.
Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah, Phase 3 is a long one.
Phase 3 is really long.
3 movies longer than the others. Not that long.
It looks
That's
longer.
half of an entire phase.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna jump in to Iron Man.
What's fun is that I feel like we don't have a lot to talk about, which is not fun, because I feel like these episodes are going to be like 20 minutes.
How?
I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say.
I feel like there will be a bit of debating going on between the beginning of the MCU.
You think?
A little bit, yeah. I think that we all have different opinions on these movies.
Generally, we
No.
like the first few movies, right?
Yeah.
That's what you were going to say?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that we all have a different low point. Well, maybe not. I don't know. For the first part of the MCU. I know all of our favorites are different than each other. And I know that some of us hate ones that others don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're talking specifically the first 3?
First, no. More of the whole first phase.
Okay, because I feel like my favorite of Phase 1 is probably the general favorite of Phase 1.
But it's not my favorite of Phase 1.
Yeah, but you're...
No, it is. It is.
I was like, there's no way.
Upon rewatching, I have changed a few of my opinions.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get to it.
Next week we'll get to it,
Yeah.
in fact.
All right. So how should we do this?
Give us a brief plot,
Okay.
and by that I mean recap the events of Iron Giant in detail.
All right.
Okay, wait. What you can do is you can just say this one time, like do a plot like of Iron Man, but then it works for every other movie. That's the
Pretty
first
much.
movie of the superhero.
Yeah, when we start talking about Captain America, I'll just be like, go back and listen to my plot by plot
Yeah,
for Iron
so
Man.
like
They're
Captain
so different.
America, you can do it for Ant-Man, Black
The
Panther,
Incredible Hulk.
Hulk. I get kind of Thor. I mean, not really, though. Thor's different.
Thor is different. All right, so here's how it goes. Iron Man. You pick up with that epic scene where Tony's in the our little military car listening to Back in Black, which really cemented that as like the Iron Man song for me.
Just AC/DC in general, really.
Yeah,
It was just like, boom.
Well, doesn't he play Back in Black in Avengers? That's probably why. It's because he plays it twice.
Plays Shoot to Thrill.
He just plays another AC/DC song.
Yeah, he plays, I think Shoot to Thrill and Iron Man 2 is the song that he comes down
to
on.
the Stark Expo.
Yeah, to the Stark Expo, and then it's also the one he plays on the overhead.
I was going to say, because he plays one of the songs twice.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, I don't know, Back in Black, no matter what, whenever I hear it, I automatically think of Iron Man. Anyways, he's in the military vehicle. You got the, like, fun banter going on between him and all the soldiers. And then all of a sudden a car in front of them explodes.
Gross.
And then after that...
Was that the sound effect of the explosion?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Now you have to leave it in. You were going to edit it out, but now you can't.
Then all the soldiers get out and they all just start getting blown up, and young Kyle was so sad at watching that scene every time. I always wanted to skip it because it made my heart hurt whenever that guy that wanted to take a selfie with Tony Stark would get blown up.
It's just like, stay here, and then
yeah. That's like the most iconic Iron Man quote for me. Stay here.
Yeah, every time I see it, it makes me sad. But that happens, and then Tony gets hit by shrapnel from a Stark missile, and he gets kidnapped and put into a cave. Then we
Iron Man.
Yeah. Title card.
Yes.
Then we cut to the past, and we get some build up. Basically, it's just showing us who
You want
Tony
me to do the
Stark
music?
is. Yes. That's
oh, yes. I was like, wait. The casino scene.
Yeah. When he's rolling the dice.
Serves to just tell us the kind of guy that Tony Stark is. He's
genius since a young age. Really, it tells you that like he built an engine, or he took apart an engine when he was a little kid.
Built an engine.
And then like he goes into robotics and then starts working with. I almost called him Odin. That's not his name. Obadiah.
But it also, more importantly, shows you that he's a bit of a narcissistic guy. He doesn't really care about all that stuff. He just wants to shoot craps and hook up with ladies.
Playboy. Yeah.
Yep. Which, as a kid, whenever that scene would come on and I was watching with one of my parents, I'd leave the room discreetly. I'd be like, oh, you guys need some water? Then I'd leave because I didn't want to see Tony Stark rolling around on the bed with that girl.
Or just like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing the soundtrack again.
Oh my god. So dumb.
Yeah, just when I was little. When did this movie come out? Like
2008.
8? I thought it was 6 or 8.
Your boy was an 8-year-old.
Yeah, so that was like before we even had like phones. Like we couldn't just hide behind our phones. We just had to be like, oh yeah, bathroom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll go to the bathroom.
So that plays out, and then it wraps up the backstory by showing us the same part where the military is getting destroyed. The guy blows up. Tony gets hit with the shrapnel, and then he wakes up in the cave, and he's being held by a terrorist group who's trying to force him to remake his big Stark bomb, the new one that launches into like 50 different missiles.
What is it called?
Yeah, no, I can't think of the name.
I don't know.
It starts with like a J.
Night. Jericho.
Jericho
There you
missile,
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah, Derek, you did nothing.
Well,
Don't pat yourself on the back.
I made the connection in my head that, Jericho, because that's Tucker's YouTube channel.
Oh, that was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. I made that connection after you had said Jericho, so.
All right.
At the J, you said Jericho. I thought of a YouTube channel. It all worked out.
It did. I connected it back to YouTube, which is where this podcast is uploaded. And so it came full circle.
Nice.
Well, in this cave, Tony meets a guy, Dr. Guy.
Do you want me to look up the names?
Srevno.
Because he's in. Oh, I won't say that. It's not this podcast.
You can mention other movies.
He's in Iron Man 3 for like 10 seconds.
What?
Really?
Yeah, at the party scene when they're all together at the party, he shows up and tries to talk to him. He references it in the first one. He's like, I tried to talk to you at a New Year's party, but we're with some girl. You guys didn't realize that? Iron Man 3, guarantee you. He's in it at the very beginning. His name is
You're not
Yinsen.
thinking of the guy
Aldrich Killian? Are you not
Jensen?
thinking of the bad guy from Iron Man 3? Because that happens with the bad guy in Iron Man 3.
Killmonger? Or not Killmonger. That's this one.
What are you talking about?
Killmonger is
Oh, that's Black Panther. What's this guy's name?
Ironmonger.
Monger. Yes, no, I guarantee you, Yinsen is in Iron Man 3. At the very beginning at the party. He tries to it's like he's in it for like 2 seconds. He tries to talk to Tony Stark and like Tony just blows him off.
Interesting. Well, he gives Tony his backstory that his wife. I kind of missed the backstory. Derek knows it.
Yeah, so it's like he makes it sound like his family's been taken hostage and he's there because he's been kidnapped. And then he drops the bomb on Tony when he's dying that it was his kids are dead. His wife and kids are dead, and he has no one to go back home to. They weren't taken hostage; they were murdered.
So while Iron Man is in that captivity, he hears about Jensen's backstory, and he wants to free Jensen so that he can get back to his family. He does this by making the Mach 1 Iron Man suit.
Did you say Mach 1? That's a speed. That's how fast you
The
fly.
Mark 1. Jesus Christ, Derek, I'm going to throw you on a fucking
Mark 1 Iron Man suit, it's big and clunky.
Dalton censored that with his cough. It was amazing.
I know what I do.
So then, but Jensen runs out before the Mark 1 suit can, initialize. It's in the process of downloading whatever it needs to download. Jensen runs out, scaring off all the terrorists with his gun, and then we don't see him for a minute.
It's like the classic run and yell and shoot your gun to scare the enemy, but then it happens in Star Wars too. Like Han runs in charging these 2 stormtroopers, then he turns the corner and there's an army of them.
Yeah. So then you've got Tony finishes booting up the Iron Man suit, and it's that cool shot where all the power goes down and the 2 terrorists are looking around the room, and then you just see the eyes turn on or something along those lines.
Exactly.
And then he just starts beating the shit out of these guys. He just clotheslines them and gives them some KO uppercuts. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool scene.
And then he gets out there, and there's that classic part where they're all shooting at him, and then they all stop, and he's just
my turn.
Blasts on those flamethrowers, just lights them all up. That's a good scene. That's a very cool
I agree.
one.
For sure. I do think that suit is dumb, though.
It's dumb?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of supposed to be. That's the point.
Yo, it's what he was given in a cave. He was he used missile parts to make an Iron Man suit,
No, I know, but then Obadiah builds it, and it looks dumb both times.
They're just he's just I'm gonna take his idea, but make it a little different.
Bigger!
Better feet.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man tries to fly away.
Crash lands in the desert. The suit blows up in a bunch of pieces. Blows up everywhere.
He walks in the desert, gets rescued, winds back up at home, and he's like, we're done. I need cheeseburger, and we're done making weapons.
Yep.
Weapons company that doesn't make weapons.
Let's see. Where does it go? He goes to build the better arc reactor for his chest, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And he does.
And
it's cool.
It's a tender moment between Pepper and Mr. Stark.
She's been in how many movies for 10 years and you don't know her name? Piper?
I stuttered, dude. I fixed it. I was like, but yeah. She yanks a metal piece out of him that wasn't supposed to come out.
Yeah, that is true.
That was actually, I enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
It's not funny. Overbearing like a lot of couple scenes are. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I knew that's what he was talking about.
I didn't. I was like, I wonder what he's referring to.
He's really hard on that one scene from. He's really hard on that one scene from Homecoming where Peter's hanging upside down and he's gonna kiss Liz and then he falls. Dalton's like, romance is over, buddy.
Oh man.
And then he builds the first suit,
Mm-hmm.
and he does the flight test,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty good scene. I like that a lot. That's like one of those scenes where I'm like, damn, I wish I could be Iron Man. That looks like so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he flies too high, freezes, and then falls.
Yep. And then...
Foreshadowing.
Yes.
That's why I mentioned it.
I just wanted to make sure the audience knew, too.
I'll also mention that when he's flying around, a little kid drops his ice cream. Although this time, the little kid doesn't emulate the repulsor blast sound like he does in the meme.
It's a good meme.
That is a good meme.
Let's see. Then...
He's like, we'll do it again. Build the suit. Make it red.
Yeah, it's color at this time. And then he goes and he's like, I'm going to go blow
up
bad
some
guys.
terrorists. And it's awesome.
Yes. That's a great
That's
scene.
like the coolest scene.
Tank missile.
That's like the coolest scene of the movie.
It's so cool.
I like that part where they've all got the hostages and his thing targets each one of them. That little thing just shoots up and blasts those little shots right into them.
Gets shot out of the sky by a tank.
Yeah.
Blows up the tank. Is that the same scene? So is he flying home when
and then he
goes through the Air Force base or airspace and Rhodey knows.
Rhodey figures it out.
Not Rhodey figures it out.
Yeah, other Rhodey.
Not Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Howard, I think, is the actor's name.
Sounds right.
Yes.
I don't like him much.
No, I'm not a big fan of his Rhodey. He's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I like...
annoying, he's more just like dry. He's like nothing to me.
Well, I honestly thought, I was like, wow, he lost a lot of weight between the first and the second movie. And I was like, oh wait, those are completely different people.
They recast him and it took me until like years later to go, oh, that's supposed to be the same character.
Yeah, it's because we were so little. We were still young.
Yeah, the MCU was so much better thought out than my like little brain could handle because I didn't recognize anybody. I like Black Widow's in Iron Man 2, and I was like, when I saw her in the Avengers, I was like, oh, who's this? It's a new person. And then
I knew Hawkeye was in Thor. I picked that
was in
out.
Thor. I didn't recognize him. I didn't even recognize Agent Coulson, who makes an appearance in Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Avengers. And when I saw him in the Avengers, I thought he was just another new character. The only one I got was Nick Fury.
I think I remembered Coulson from Thor in Avengers. I think that's where I was like, we've seen him before. Was it Thor? Oh, it must be, because he's with Hawkeye. I don't think I put the pieces together and went, oh yeah, he's like a prominent part in both Iron Man 1 and 2. Movies that I very much enjoyed. How did I not notice that?
We were young. Let's just blame it on that.
Don Cheadle, he's one of the only 2 actors that replaced a character, right? The other being Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo.
There's been minor recasts. Thor's buddies got recast.
Oh, did they?
Shazam played one of Thor's buddies initially.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he played him in all of them.
Nope. He only plays on Thor.
Are you sure? I think he was I thought he was the only one who actually like stayed.
Nope, he gets recast in Thor 2 and 3.
The the ginger bearded guy definitely was the same guy.
This guy gets recast. Zachary Levi gets recast. I'm trying to think if anyone else gets recast. I feel like they've had minor recasts in the past.
Oh, it says he was in Dark World.
Yeah,
Levi was.
Was he in?
I'm checking Ragnarok real quick. He dies in Ragnarok, I think.
I know.
Yeah, he is. He's Fondrol.
Yeah, see, I knew.
Okay,
that
one of them gets recast. No, they don't all stay the same.
The big guy, the girl does.
Yeah, but she's not in Ragnarok. She's just in the first 2.
Even
Lady
though
Sif.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed that Thanos killed her with the snap, so it doesn't matter.
I thought the actress was holding out hope. She was like, you didn't see me die in Ragnarok, so I'm still out there.
And then the Russo brothers were like, we didn't want to put her in Avengers 4, so she's dead.
Nice.
Korg is also probably dead because Korg would be tonally off-put for the movie.
Yeah.
so they need to
That's
get rid
fair.
of him.
I agree. I honestly understand that. Like, everyone was like, yeah, Korg in Infinity War, but like at the same time, we're
Nope.
like, its tone is way too different for Korg.
Korg would have fit in like 2 scenes with the Guardians, and then once Thanos showed up, Korg is out of place.
Instead of,
Also, I
yes.
feel like Thanos could just like crush Korg's head on accident.
Instead of the Guardians running into Thor in the spaceship
They
in
run into
Infinity
Korg.
War, they run into Korg and he's like, hey man!
Well, you know, because Korg dies in the Dark World, so you know that that species can die super easily.
Right.
Because Thor like one-shots one of them without putting any effort into it. And also, that was apparently supposed to be Korg, and then Taika Waititi was like, no, it wasn't. Anyways, back to
Iron
phase
Man.
1.
Yeah. What in the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about
He does the
recasting
flight-
Rhodey.
Yeah.
Rhodey catches him and he's like, what are you doing?
Yes, that's right.
Coolest scene in the movie. One of the most iconic shots of Marvel ever when he blows up the tank when he's walking away from it.
Yeah, but we're past it.
Okay.
We're up. He's there.
He already got attacked
Flying
by
away,
the U.S.
getting
military.
He gets out of it.
They say that it's...
What does he blow up some jets and then they parachute or whatever? Doesn't he
Well,
save a guy?
Yeah,
It's because one of the jets runs into him because they like threw him off. And it runs into him and then he has to save the person that just hit him.
ejected, Yeah. And then I think we learn that Obadiah's been the bad guy the whole time. Because it cuts to that scene where he goes and meets the terrorist group and he uses that like short-term paralysis device on him and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
they like kill all of those guys because he wanted the original Iron Man suit, the Mark 1, so that he could build his own. And he also wanted Tony dead from the start. I don't really know why.
I think he just wanted
Probably
the
for
company.
money.
Yeah,
No,
I think
he wanted him.
No, I think he just wanted the company because
Oh, yeah. Okay.
because Tony was like he knew Tony would not go through with the decisions he was making to like sell to whoever wanted to buy rather than just the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just say, paralysis is like the worst thing in the world. So like I feel for those poor terrorists and Tony.
Paralysis.
I've had sleep paralysis before.
Oh.
It's where your mind wakes up before your body does, and so you're just trapped laying there and you can't move, and you're like conscious but you can't move. It's horrifying. It's like the scariest thing I've ever had.
That scene is scary when Obadiah is like zapping that boy.
It's
The
scary once he
terrorist guy
gets
because
Tony
you can just
later
like see
on.
the veins coming out of
Yeah.
his face, and you're like, "Holy crap! What is happening to him?"
And then so, what tips Tony off? I literally watched the movie last night. I can't remember.
I don't know. I went to bed last night. So.
I know. How does
They're
he
at that like
figure out that
party
he's a
thing,
bad
aren't
guy?
they? They're at that party, and that's where Pepper and him dance at. And then he goes outside, and Obadiah, or the female person, shows that
Yes,
the
that's
terrorists
right.
are getting their weapons still, even though he's not manufacturing them anymore,
Right.
or under his understanding.
Dalton remembers this movie so much better than I anticipated he would.
I love this movie. Now, if you talk about like the Hulk or Thor, I'm gonna be like, mm-mm.
Let's see. So, yeah, he finds out that they're still spying. He catches on that Obadiah might be the bad guy. He has Pepper go into his office and steal all of his files.
Mhm.
But then Obadiah realizes that Pepper stole all the files, and he's like ready to kill both of them now. And then he goes to Tony's house, puts him into paralysis, takes out his heart because he needs the reactor.
The arc reactor's power to power his own
Yeah,
suit.
power the suit, because none of his guys can figure out how to make one. And that's when he gives these like, Tony Stark made this in a cave
With a box of scraps.
Yeah, so he goes and he's like booting up his suit. Tony makes it down to the basement and he tries to put the one in that Pepper gave him as the little display case thing. But he goes down and then not Rhodey comes in. And
His robot friend grabs it, like gives it to him, and then
Oh yeah, that's right. Wait, Rhodey shows up at the same part though, doesn't he?
Rhodey shows
Rhodey
up
shows
afterwards because he's like still like recovering from
Yeah.
it, and then he's just like, I gotta get my suit. He was like, next time, baby.
Yep, that's the line. You remember back when the movie came out, how the three of us were convinced Rhodey would be the villain in the next one? Because we thought he was going to steal the suit and be evil in Iron Man 2.
Well, that's partly true. He does steal the suit.
He does steal the suit, he's not
He does
evil.
become evil.
Well, alright.
The suit becomes evil.
It's not his fault.
True. We were...
Dude, we should have been
Technically
YouTube theory videos back then. Back in 2008.
We would have made bank.
Yeah, totally. So then Tony goes to face off with what's now the Ironmonger.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They do that big in the middle of the street battle.
Yeah, pretty cool fight, I guess.
I like
pretty cool
it.
first fight for the MCU, I suppose.
I'm just seeing from where, like, that was, like, the first movie, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing that compared to all the older ones and now, I thought it was pretty cool.
I think if you look at the superhero movies that came before this, like the Marvel movies, you got like Spider-Man's and
Epic.
and
The
X-Men
epic Captain
movies,
America.
and the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
I would say that this is definitively the coolest fight scene of any of those movies up to this point.
You know, I always kind of felt it was a bit lackluster. The fight between him and the big villain wasn't anything super special to me. I think it was just upstaged by so many other awesome action parts, like when he goes and destroys all those terrorists, or when he does his big flight test.
Yeah, that
I always thought those were like awesome. Those were so cool. And then the big M scene, it's just like they're kicking each other around a little bit. And I always liked the line where they like fly up into the thing, and he's like, "My suit's more advanced than yours in every way." And he's like, "Oh yeah, then how'd you fix the ice problem?" He's like, "Ice problem." And
yeah.
he knocks him down.
He punches him in the head.
I was always like, "Ooh, you got roasted, dude. You didn't fix the ice problem. Tony's better than you." Boom. I remember saying that with my friends at summer camp all the time. It was like, I don't even know why, but it's just like, how'd you fix the ice problem?
I remember I had this Iron Man toy, and I had an Ironmonger toy, and I would take the two of them, and I would throw them straight up into the sky, and I would only catch Iron Man, and that Ironmonger toy is just destroyed.
He's missing like a foot. I think some of his fingers are gone.
Yeah, he's like all scratched to pieces. The Iron Man's like equally as scratched, but he's still intact. But it's because sometimes I would fail to catch him and he hit the ground.
Yeah.
But I would do that over and over again and be like, "You still haven't fixed it," and I'd throw them both at me.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, but then, he outsmarts Obadiah. Oh, no, there's another good part where they're fighting, and he's, like, just busting the hell out of Tony's suit, and he, like, destroys one of his hands, and he
rips off his helmet.
Oh, that's
breaks
right.
up his helmet.
And then he goes for the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also that weird CGI on his hand that I only noticed for the first time last night when I was watching it. When he very first loses his hand, he brings it up to his face, and it's like so fat. It's like the fattest little CGI hand that I've ever seen.
Really?
And he brings it up and then he puts it down. It's not
super noticeable.
It's not Captain America,
his
the
head
first
on
Avenger levels of terrible CGI, but
Jeez.
Later.
yeah, I'll fight you.
He's got some things to say.
Yeah,
boys.
geez, he's already heated about it. I'm just chill, man.
Yeah, but then he does that part where he's like holding on to Obadiah, and he's like, "Ooh, this looks important," and rips out his target.
Yeah, I love that line.
Another classic.
I used to say that all the time too.
Yeah, that one. Chris and I, he would say that all the time to me.
Well, because it reminds me, it's like, it's time for the Ben 10 reference of the podcast. It reminds me of the one when Ben's being hunted by, like, the three bounty hunters, and you have Tetrax as one of them, who winds up being the good guy Diamond Head, who's there to help him. Mm-hmm. And he turns into gray matter and goes and fights Krabby, and he crawls up on his neck and goes, "Well, this looks important," and rips out the thing in Krabby's neck.
I honestly was actually thinking about that. Like, when you said that, I was like, that's from, like, Ben 10 or something.
You know what's crazy is every time I've ever thought of that line in recent times that, oh, this looks important, I always thought it was Ant-Man doing that to Falcon in Civil War.
To
or
Falcon?
whenever it was
Falcon's on his
Oh, so
team.
he did it to Iron Man.
He does it to Iron Man, but he's like, Tony, this is your conscience
Yeah, he
speaking.
says it's his conscience
It's been a while
in
since
Civil
we
War.
talked.
I
That's
know.
what he says.
Maybe I'm thinking of in Ant-Man, he does it to Falcon.
When he does it to Falcon
Yeah.
and Ant-Man, yes.
And I always thought that line was from that, but now that you say that it was in that Ben 10 where it was gray matter, it all makes sense to me now.
It was
a
100%
little person
gray
inside
matter.
of a big person's suit, ripping it apart.
That is,
All right.
and it was that exact line. He goes, "This looks important," and he rips out the targeting system, and that's why Krabby can't pinch him anymore because he doesn't have his targeting system. Ben 10 came out in 2006, right? I think it came out in 2006. Came out before Iron Man, definitively.
Yeah, Iron Man definitely watched that episode of Ben 10 and
It
was
did.
like, take it.
Ben 10's a classic.
That's a good idea.
Anyways, he rips it out. Pepper blows up the fake arc reactor that they have in the building. It destroys
2005, boys.
that episode specifically.
That episode came out in 2006,
Okay.
so I was right.
He
I know
blows
my
up.
Ben 10
You're
classic.
screwed, Disney. You're gonna get sued now. We know your secret.
I'm on to you. This has been a 12-year conspiracy. 10-year. Iron Man's 11.
Well, you know what they do with past stuff. They don't always come up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
James
Um, they kill Obadiah, and
Supposedly.
pretty much the movie ends.
I mean, he's dead.
yeah, there's no way he survived.
And then
getting
Jeff Bridges is like, I
Brilliant.
still have one movie left in my contract, fellas. When are you bringing me back?
I didn't know that.
I found out about that
Oh, dude,
recently.
well, they are time traveling,
That's
supposedly,
what I
in
said,
Endgame.
Yeah, there's no way. Obadiah is dead, definitively.
Yeah.
I've seen him on lists of, like, MCU villains that are still out there. No, he's not. He is dead.
Yeah, there's no way.
Did you know that there's, like, alternate scenes to that where Tony actually tries to save Obadiah from
Yeah.
falling?
And the CG's not finished, and it looks real weird.
Yeah,
That
they're
would
just
make
like,
sense,
come here,
too.
buddy! And then he ends up falling the same way.
I do remember that.
Because I remember watching it, I was like, what the heck is this?
And I remember the deleted scene with the car. The car is extended, that sequence. Where they pick up the car and they're about to smash it. I was saying for the viewers, because they can't see me doing the motion of picking up a car.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty much Iron Man.
That's Iron Man.
That's Iron Man 1.
And then he goes to the press conference and announces that he's Iron Man, which was like superhero taboo right there. You're not allowed to do that in superhero movies.
And then
He did it.
the first post-credit scene in an MCU movie. I would say the first post-credit scene, but it isn't. Not by a long shot. So people need to stop giving it credit for being that.
But I guess that's just like,
First mainstream.
yes,
post-credit
mainstream.
scene.
Ferris Bueller?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good point.
Well, see, I feel like it's different though because that's a comedy movie, and these were more based. I guess this just had a greater purpose than just saying the movie was over.
Right.
I suppose. Yeah.
I think that's why it caught on so quickly with
It did
everyone
catch
else.
on after this.
Yeah, and it's destroyed cinema ever since because we sit to the end of every goddamn end credit.
Yes.
Yeah, and The Incredibles 2 doesn't have anything after, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
I remember that. Is there something? I don't know. I guess we'll just wait and wait.
After we wait that whole time, that guy behind us is like, we waited 14 years.
That was me
for
who said
this?"
that.
What?
No, there's a guy behind us who said something about it too.
No,
and we
I
just
said
laughed.
that, and then the guy behind us agreed with me, and he
Oh.
added on to it.
Gotcha.
You're giving Rando's
Derek
theater
said
goer
nothing.
credit for my joke.
He's mute. He literally can't even speak.
Yeah, he's Alex, actually, not me.
All right.
Well, then
so,
I'm just not going to say another thing for the rest of this podcast.
All right, Kyle,
he's
let's
being
do
a little
this.
sensitive. So that's Iron Man.
Iron Boy.
Okay, quickly.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the post-credit scene. We just said there
Oh
was
yeah,
one.
you're right.
Nick
Nick
Fury
Fury's
shows
in
up.
his house.
He's
Nick
like,
Fury.
He's like, I'm trying to assemble a team.
yeah, Mick Fury shows up, and he's like, your world's
You
about
think
to get a whole
you
lot
think you're
larger.
the only one with superpowers out there?
I've seen
Well, you're-
Captain Marvel.
You're
You think you're the only one with superpower, motherfucker?
that's Iron Man.
Yes.
What were you trying to say, Derek?
I was going to say, quickly, I guess we could do like a fast rundown to be like, what'd you think of the character / acting? I think everything works in this movie.
Oh well,
I agree.
Yeah, there's really nothing that doesn't work in this movie.
Because I'll break it down the way I break down my solo reviews, the way I wrap up my conclusions, because it just makes sense to me and it's easy. So you got that, and then I'd say, what do you think of the action? I think the action in Iron Man 1 is pretty awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
It's great.
And the CG in this movie still holds up for the most part. There's little things that's
Chubby
like,
hand.
it doesn't look
And
great.
still for the time, too.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
2008.
fantastic.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Really, the MCU, aside from like Black Panther, has been ahead of its game at all times. It's always had like cutting edge CGI. I've always thought it was fantastic.
Well,
There's
there's still
few
scenes
movie.
like in Captain America, obviously,
but
but
not,
like
not at the time. At the time, I couldn't tell the difference at all. It looked so real.
oh,
but,
okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
yes.
because we've aged with the MCU.
gotcha.
Right, I
we
understand
see
what you're
their
saying
better
now.
CG, and now when we go back, we can spot the flaws.
Right.
There's scenes like the Civil War airport scene when Tony first unmasks, where he looks weird, and like I noticed that in theaters. I wouldn't say that's a huge, but it's more of a green screen than a CG issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like Bruce Banner's floating head in Infinity War that just looks bad.
That's bad. That's a bad one.
Well, and also, like, not that it's like terrible, but like Iron Man's like suit in general in Infinity War looked goofy at times.
Yes. I think that's more of a
you know what it
design
is?
issue.
It is because
Okay.
here's what it is. The mask, the way it closes like I don't know how to describe it for the
It has too much
viewers.
of like an oval shape.
Well, it's like a
That's the issue.
wall. It's like it closes straight in on itself because it's like nanotech is building around him. Whereas these old masks, you watch the way they close and they like click together and like snap in place, and it looks awesome. I think it is much more of an issue with the weird nanotech rather than the actual
I think it's
CG.
the shape. I think it's the shape of the suit. The Iron Man suits look real because they're like more like mechanical and they're bulky and they've got more squared off edges. And that nanotech suit's just like all
You're
around.
trying to make it, like,
and smooth,
sleek,
and
right?
It looks weird.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the nanotech suit.
I'm not.
I don't like
I thought the
face.
concept is super cool.
The concept I think is cool. I think the face of it. This is not. Never mind. I was gonna make a big dumb. This is one of my favorite Iron Man suits. I was gonna say it was my favorite, but
I'd pretty
it's
much
one of
say,
them.
from what I can remember, this is my favorite Iron Man suit. Is the one in the first one.
I like the one in 2. I like his silver suit in 2 better.
I don't.
And my favorite Iron Man suit is the one from Age of Ultron. That is my favorite Iron Man
I
suit.
can't picture that
It's
one
so
right now.
good. That's my favorite Iron Man suit. But anyways, yeah, I think the mask on Infinity War is dumb, and it's real cool here.
Yeah.
All right, what's our next?
Well-
Is that all?
Oh,
for
and
now?
then
yeah,
I was gonna
There's a
say
couple things.
soundtrack. What do you think? I liked it.
Soundtrack. Iron Man soundtrack is great.
It's one of the best.
It's
Mhm,
it's
I
this
agree.
good, punchy, like
And I'm not even just talking the AC/DC stuff. Like I'm very
Oh,
yeah, I'm talking like the score. I think is
Yeah.
great
Mm-hmm.
and
his
very
theme,
memorable.
His theme in this first one is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But to be honest, Marvel has few bad scores.
I mean, they're
I don't
To
think
an
any of
extent,
them
I
are
agree with
bad,
that.
but I don't think any of them stand out like these. There's a few of them that really stand out. This
Yeah.
is one of them.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I agree.
What else do I say?
I was gonna ask, what did you think of this when you first saw it? Can you
Oh.
remember how into it you were, and then what do you think about it now?
Dude, we all bought
Yeah, we
like
were all
repulsor blasters
really into
for our
this
hands
movie.
and stuff.
Yeah, I
we loved
know.
it.
Well, I know how we all felt about it.
No, I'm
just
saying that.
Yeah.
I was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely into this movie.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think I was as into it as the rest of the world. And I don't think I was as into the MCU as the rest of this world
Mhm.
until a specific movie. But I always thought Iron Man was cool. I've always been more of a DC guy, so
Yeah,
I was always
I was about to
waiting
say,
for
when
the
you were a
next
kid, you were
Batman
more-
movie.
When we
Next
were younger,
Batman
it
or
was just
Superman.
like Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So what I'd say is I like this movie a lot more now than I did back in 2008 when I first saw it.
I'd say I like it probably equal to how I liked it in 2008. I still love this movie.
Yeah.
I still love it too.
I peed the pool.
There you go.
You peed the pool in the pool.
You peed in the pool? I'm
I
drowning
peed
in a
the
pool.
pool.
of pee.
Did you fill the
So-
pool?
I filled the pool that you're drowning in.
That's
They're
just-
standing on the outside edge peeing into the pool that I'm now drowning in.
Yes.
I can't animate that. I'm sorry. You'll just have to deal with these PNGs.
Hey, look at that. That's a
It's
silly
just,
PNG.
it's just gonna be the same thing as
What'd you do, Dalton?
I'd say I would agree with Derek. Peed the pool.
You peed the pool? Well, that makes it sound like I like this movie more than both of you.
Did you
Well,
pee
you
the
didn't.
world or something?
No,
I filled the
drowning.
ocean.
Oh, you filled the ocean. Oh my god,
No.
that's a lot of pee.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. I was trying to predict.
There's a swimming pool that I am now drowning in, and it's 100% urine.
Yeah, mine. You peed very little compared to...
Okay, all right. So
There's more than one pool in the world, Derek.
And mine was a bigger one that I filled.
I
Derek
say
did a
we're
kick
all
it.
drowning in pools of urine,
Okay.
of Derek's urine.
Gross. That's disgusting.
That's icky.
Okay, now we can move on to the Incredible Hulk.
Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. I'll do the soundtrack.
No, I would prefer you do the plot for this one. You're the Hulk fan. You need to try and take...
I'm really trying to remember the plot of this movie. It's been like
Let's just watch it.
a minimum of 3
Yeah, it's
years.
right here. Let's just
Bruce
spend the
Banner,
next hour and a half.
good old Eddie Norton, Bruce Banner has been on our TV this entire time.
Yep.
All right, I'll
Just
give you
dragged
the
open
rundown of the
door.
plot of this movie from what I remember it, okay? Because I don't remember much because it's been a long time. The movie starts out, we get some like flashbacky shots to like how did he become the Hulk, and we see Bruce Banner's doing experiments with gamma rays.
Oh, I'm going to stop you right here. I want to ask one thing about Iron Man. In terms of superhero origin
We
movies,
just looked at each other.
in terms of superhero origin movies, how do you feel about it? Because I think it's one of the best.
It's one of the best.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It is
I-
the best.
yeah.
I agree.
I don't think it's... well, you know what? I would take... Yeah.
Well,
It is the best
okay,
superhero
well, you
origin
gotta
film. I might
think about
give
it.
you
It's just this, Thor, Hulk.
Well, I'm thinking like large
Cap-
scale. You've got like the first Superman movie, Batman
Oh.
Begins.
This is the best.
I think I do give it the best. I was gonna say Batman Begins, but I think given the choice between Batman Begins and Iron Man, I would pick the first Iron Man movie.
Yes, I think I would too.
I would certainly, because I don't like Batman Begins that much. I like
I
it.
think that one
I think
was...
Batman Begins is another great like superhero origin story, but I do think that this one's pretty damn cool.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
And the reason I said that is because the Incredible Hulk
is also an origin story.
is also kind of an origin story that skips over the origin part.
Which is... well, the reason it does that is because this movie is kind of a pseudo-sequel to Ang Lee's The Hulk.
There's
in a
been
lot of
There's
ways.
been so many renditions of the Hulk, you know. So
Yeah.
You know
I
the
feel
story
like it's the
how
same
he
thing what they
becomes
did
the
with
Hulk.
Homecoming.
It's
Yeah,
They didn't
100%
want to
the
show.
same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, well, everyone knows what happened to Peter Parker. We don't need to show it
Yep.
again.
Yeah, because, all right, it is kind of a pseudo-sequel to Ang Lee's The Hulk. It's not a sequel. It's confirmed to not be. But when they made the movie, they kind of made it so that if you really want to think it is, it kind of is. But it isn't. There's too many continuity errors.
All
if it
right,
is.
well, you've convinced me. We're going to now talk about Ang Lee's The Hulk. Right here, right now.
So there's
Y'all
that part
remember it?
when big green baby... He looks like a crybaby in that movie. Remember when he's running away, like jumping around?
Is that the one that
In
was
the
in my house
desert.
for like 5 years and I never watched?
Yeah, and he's
yes.
like crying when he's beating up tanks, and then he punches that dog in the balls.
Okay,
Oh, all right.
this one.
So in the Incredible Hulk, it's basically a recreation of the classic TV show intro. That's what they're doing here. So that you see the Hulk origin. He's in that weird machine, gets himself blown up with gamma rays. We find out it injures Betty Ross, which gives our good boy, Thunderbolt Ross, a reason to hate him. Then we jump forward a while. That's what he's
his
called.
name.
Is it really?
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
I
comics.
didn't know that. That's awesome.
I think, what, did they just call him General Ross in the
Yeah.
movies? Yeah.
I couldn't remember if he was Colonel or whatever he was.
Because he does show up in Civil War. Again.
And in Infinity
and in
War.
Infinity War, yeah. He's in a hologram
Oh,
scene.
yeah. Yes.
It's like Captain America's best line.
I know. That scene specifically, for some reason, I was thinking that the scene from Infinity War was the one in Civil War, but now I remember.
He is in a lot of Civil
Yes,
War.
I
He is,
get it. I
yes.
remember it now. We're good.
Okay, anyways, he's like, I don't like the Hulk. Bruce Banner's like, whatever, I'm out of here. He dips. He goes to, like, Asia. I don't know where. He goes to, we'll just say Asia.
Indonesia, I think.
He goes to Asia, and he's, like, living in Asia, doing his thing, and then, like, I work in a bottle plant, and he's like doing, I do, what is it called, meditation, and I'm controlling my heart rate, because if I get super hyped, I turn into the Hulk. And then, what the hell happens? Like, some gangsters want to fight him or something? He bumps into someone on the street.
It's the guys in the bottling plant are, like, pushing him, or no, they're, like, being real rapey on this girl, and he steps in, and he's like, yeah, scatter, boys, and they try and beat him up, and they...
Alright, then a chase scene starts.
Yeah.
And they chase him into the bottling plant where he works. Before that, okay, so here's what happens. He works in this bottling plant, he cuts his hand, drop of blood, only one drop, falls into a bottle. He tries to find the bottle.
He catches it, because he knows what'll happen if the blood gets
he
out.
knows that it's radioactive, so it will kill someone. So he tries to stop the blood, and you think he does, but then as we find out, Stan Lee drinks a bottle with his contaminated blood and dies. And that tips off Thunderbolt Ross to be like, okay, so we know where the Hulk is. And they go to intercept him. Meanwhile, he's in the middle of stopping the rapists, and they're all going to beat him up inside the bottling plant. He turns into the Hulk. You don't really get a glimpse of him. It's like kind of a horror movie-esque sequence.
But this is a pretty epic sequence.
It's so cool.
This one's badass.
This is one of the coolest Hulk sequences in the MCU. It's the second coolest, I'd say.
And
the other one is in this movie as well.
Yeah, there we go. I was worried that you were going to be like, and the other one is...
No,
later.
It's definitely... This is...
The Hulk has a lot of...
This movie...
I like the Hulk a lot. He's got a lot of cool scenes.
This movie...
Yeah, for sure.
Throughout the movies.
Yeah, well, okay.
I don't love this movie, but...
No, I don't... I like this movie. I think...
Young Derek just started tugging inside of current Derek and was like, don't say it! Don't say it! You love this movie!
I think this has the coolest Hulk incarnation of all time in this movie.
Absolutely.
And I think that every single scene with the Hulk in this movie is great and probably the best Hulk stuff we get. That being said, I think Hulk's big reveal in Avengers at the very end is really cool. I think in Age of Ultron he's got some great moments. I'm not a huge fan of him in Ragnarok.
I think the specific battle between him and Thor in the arena in Ragnarok is pretty damn cool.
Well, it's cool, but I think that's cooler for Thor than it is for Hulk.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But anyways, in terms of this movie, right, he hulks up, just wipes out all these guys. The military's there trying to stop him. They bring one super soldier in who has Captain America serum.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he was trying
Are we at the
to
bottle
make...
plant still?
Yeah.
They are trying to...
He doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it yet?
No, he gets injected with it. That's the next fight scene that they
I know he has it. I know he has it in the next one. I didn't think he interacts with the Hulk much in this. I think he tries to catch him and then can't.
To me, he's more of like Hawkeye and Thor, where he has his gun kind of trained on him and he just kind of watches.
Is that what he's doing? I think the actor's pretty good. I don't remember who it is or what the character's name is, but I remember liking him.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hulk gets away. He's out of there. Something happens. He winds up with Betty again. He goes back to wherever she is.
All right, let's take a moment to pause right here and talk about how awful Betty is.
Not yet. We'll get there. He's like, he finds her in a diner or whatever, and then they reunite. And they're like, "It's been so long." And he goes back to her house, and they're like, "Oh man, I love you." And she wants to have sex with him, and then his heart rate starts increasing, and he's like, "We're not going to do this.
I can't.
Because I will Hulk up, and you'll die." She's like, "Oh." And then she gets him like big stretchy purple pants, and he's like,
"She gets him big."
Thank you.
No, she gets him big.
She gets him, she gets him some big stretchy purple pants, and he's like, "I'm not wearing these." Get it? Because old Hulk had big stretchy purple pants. Some other things happen.
Was like, put the damn pants on.
Yeah, I think I was
me too.
Cruz, put those damn pants on.
Some other things happen. They are on to him. They find out where he is. He's in Harlem now. He goes to a library, and he has this flash drive, because he's been emailing with this guy called Mr. Blue, I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been emailing with this guy, and they're trying to come up with a cure so that he's no longer has the Hulk inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that Ross wants to kidnap Bruce and essentially turn the Hulk into a soldier for the U.S. Army. And he's like, we can't have that.
That's always the damn military motivation in these movies.
Yeah, military weapon.
They're always like, we want the Iron Man suit to make it a military tool. We want the Hulk to make him a soldier. Captain America is our soldier.
To be a soldier. We want the Thing to be our soldier. Fan Stick, yay!
You reminded me of that movie.
So this is the coolest Hulk scene of all time. It is.
Yes.
Hulk scene, you said?
I would say, okay, I'll
when he's
revise.
like, getting gassed,
Yes.
and then he jumps out.
I will
was
revise.
like, oh my
Earlier,
gosh.
These Hulk scenes
his
are all
first
so
reveal,
cool,
his
though.
first reveal is like the third
best.
coolest because the ending fight is awesome.
Yes.
But in this, he's like, he swallows this flash drive because he's like, well, if this gets destroyed, the data for the cure gets destroyed. So he swallows the flash drive. He gets inside. He gets closed off in this tunnel, and it's like the coolest scene ever. And they just shoot tear gas in it, like you can't see him anymore. And then all of a sudden, you see his hand smack the window, and it's all huge. And then you see the Hulk just bust out and goes on a rampage and fights the military. And there's like these sonic cannons shooting him, and he's like using cars as weapons and like deflecting the sound at them and like throwing them as shields. It's so damn cool.
I do think that Guy, the bad guy, did take a dose.
He
of
is
super
Captain America
soldier
at this
serum.
point because
Yes, he
But
does.
my
He gets a
favorite-
shot in
it's
his
my
spine.
favorite thing is when the Hulk just kind of walks up to him and pounds him so he like flies.
no,
into
that's
a
not.
tree
So
or
it's
something.
like he's able to keep up with the Hulk kind of in a fight. Not real. They're not like fist fighting, but he's able to keep up with the Hulk while the
Right.
Hulk's on his rampage, and then he like has the line to the Hulk where like he hits him with a car door or something. He's like, "Is that all you got?" And Hulk just kicks him into a tree.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
thought that was the
amazing.
best.
He goes like face first into
Yeah,
the
he,
tree
like, shatters
and
all
winds
of
up in a
his
coma.
bones, and his
It's-
eyes look disgusting.
It's
and-
so
yeah.
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the Hulk gets away. I think he grabs Betty, and so Ross is like, "Don't shoot!" And they get away. They go to a cave where he de-hulks at night, and it's like storming, and then he's back to Bruce. And then there's some like other stuff going on that happens, and then
They go meet Mr. Blue.
they go meet Mr. Blue, and they're like, "Give me the cure." And Mr. Blue's like, "This is all really interesting. Your blood, I have so much of it, and I can make more of you." And he's like, "Please destroy the blood because I don't want more of me." Blah blah blah. They wind up trying to give him the cure, and it doesn't really work. I think he turns into the Hulk and then turns back.
Yes.
And then they're like, "Whoa, that was crazy." And he's like, "Yeah, I know that was crazy, and I never want to do that again." They're like, "Good, well, I don't think you will." And he's like, "Awesome." And then they were under attack. The military shows back up, and they're like, "We're going to get him." The dude, the super soldier, is like all banged up, and he shows up, and he's like, after Bruce gets away, he's like, "Hey, yeah, give me that Hulk DNA." And then Mr. Blue's like, "I really don't think that's a good idea." But he's like, "You're going to give it to me or I'm going to kill you." So he gives him the Hulk DNA, which winds up turning him into the Abomination.
Yeah, but don't forget the most important part for us as kids.
Well,
was
that
when-
comes right here when Abomination, when he hulks up into Abomination, he knocks over this, like, he hits Mr. Blue on the head and cuts his head open, and then knocks over a vial of Hulk's blood and pours it into his brain, which, like,
his
head,
head, like,
starts to
his
bubble.
head grows and becomes like all veiny and stuff.
Yeah, so
He
it's
is
like
a villain from
bubbling
the
and
comics.
stuff.
What is the villain? Is it like the leader
I
or something
remember
like that?
we were all so excited. We're like, "Oh, dude, that's gonna be the next Hulk
In the
villain."
next Hulk
It's-
movie, that'll be the villain.
I swear to God, we were like, "It's Red Hulk. He will be Red Hulk."
We
and
did
then
feel
we'll
it
get
was
Hulk
Red Hulk.
versus Hulk.
We 100% thought it was, and then we thought Thanos at the end of the Avengers end credits. We were like, "That's him. That's Red Hulk."
I do remember that, and I now looking back, I was like, that was the dumbest.
Okay,
For us,
how?
the
How?
most anticipated Marvel villain of all time was Red Hulk.
I confirm
Yes.
it. Well, Red Hulk is a badass, so alright. I can confirm it that the villain is called the Leader. That's who he turns into in the comics, is the Leader. It's a big green dude with a giant green forehead. There you go. I knew my comic stuff.
But yeah, we were all just so excited.
We were
We're just
convinced
like,
it
"Oh,
was
dude,
Red
he's gonna be
Hulk."
the Hulk, Red Hulk.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an awesome fight scene."
Because I had a comic that's called Who is the Red Hulk? And in that comic you never get it revealed. But it's
That's just clickbait.
actually Thunderbolt Ross. That's who is the Red Hulk. And I was like really into Hulk comics at the time.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of them, and I was into
Ever
the
since Ang Lee,
cartoons.
man, Derek loved
I did.
Ang Lee Hulk. 'cause
I-
he
at
just
one
loved the
point.
Hulk.
Well, because I always thought it was cool that in Ang Lee Hulk he would grow the more he'd get mad.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that he only makes it up to like a whopping 15 feet. Like I always thought he was like a 60-foot tall giant monster in the scene when he's fighting the helicopters outside. He's not. He's 15 feet. But I always thought that was really cool. So I got into like the Hulk Encyclopedia, and I got into the comics, and I had a whole bunch of them, and I watched all the cartoons, the Planet Hulk cartoon, all that cool stuff. And then, yeah, and this movie is way better. But right, so he turns into Abomination. Bruce is on a helicopter. They're getting out of there, and the Abomination's kind of going on a rampage, and they're like, we need to go. And Bruce is like, well, the only way we're going to stop him is if we use the Hulk. And so he's like, well, I got this, and jumps out of a helicopter.
This is another great scene.
And you think he's going to turn into the Hulk before he hits the ground, but he doesn't. He, like, opens his eyes, he's like, and then he hits the ground, and you just watch him, like, crack through the floor. And then the Hulk busts out, and it's awesome. And then they get into the coolest Hulk scene of all time.
Okay.
The second coolest. Yeah, this one's the second cool. I really do like that.
I don't know. This is.
He has some really cool moments in here when he's using the police car, when he, like, rips it in half and he's beating down on Abomination with
like
it.
brass knuckles against Abomination.
And then this Hulk is so much smarter than the later Hulks. Like, he's using weapons in this movie. He's, like, actively utilizing his environment. He Hulk smashes to catch Abomination's foot through the floor, and then he grabs that chain and, like, chokes him around the neck and stabs him with it, with the whatever it was.
Like his own, like, shoulder.
Like, oh, that's what it was. You're right. And he snaps it off and
yeah.
stabs him in the neck with it. This Hulk is such a badass, and he looks so mean and scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The face for this Hulk is so much better.
And the hair.
Everyone's always like, oh, I love Ruffalo Hulk because it actually looks like Ruffalo. I can picture him turning into that. I'm like, no, it looks
Is that your
dumb.
PewDiePie impression?
No, that's my 2-year-olds who enjoy Ruffalo's Hulk design.
I feel like that's what PewDiePie does about every video he makes.
Yeah,
Norton's Hulk is the coolest Hulk.
Yeah, Norton's Hulk, he looks so much more badass
I
than
agree.
Ruffalo's.
Like, when I saw, what's his name? Mark Ruffalo? Mm-hmm. When you saw him for the first time in Avengers,
we were talking about recasting characters earlier, and we didn't mention Ruffalo, did we? I think we only talked about Rhodey.
I said Rhodey's one of 2 that's been replaced, aside from Norton Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And then you were like, there's been more. All of Thor's people.
Well, at least one of Thor's people has been, and I guarantee that.
It's the only one is the Asian guy, then.
One of them has.
That's got to be. It's the only one. It's the
none.
only one that could have been, because we looked it up.
I tell you
all
what,
the other guys are all in
they
it.
all were recast in Thor Ragnarok when they were in the play with Matt Damon.
Shut up.
But anyways, I was saying, seeing Mark Ruffalo's Hulk for the first time in Avengers was so underwhelming.
Yes.
Because
he's, first of all, smaller.
That was the thing that made me the most upset. I was like, he is barely taller than Thor, it looked like, in Avengers.
He doesn't even seem as ripped.
He's just
smoother.
He's less muscular. He's brighter green, which is not as cool to look at. He doesn't have the long hair. He has that gross curly hair.
Yeah.
This Hulk is so much cooler.
So much cooler.
And this ending fight is awesome.
Yes.
I'm not going to say too much about it. There's I could be like, this is a great moment, but it's all a great moment because it's one of the best fights. I think of MCU. I'd say I'm a big fan of it.
I probably would prefer this end fight over the Iron Man.
I certainly would.
Warmonger. Or Iron Man Ironmonger.
This was my favorite MCU movie for a long time.
I know it was.
It isn't anymore, but it was for a long time.
I think that up till the Avengers, this was your favorite.
It was my favorite up until Civil War.
Whoa. Oh, really?
Holy damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is. Holy cow.
I would no longer put it that high. I think the first Iron Man is better than the Incredible Hulk. And I think Avengers is better than the Incredible Hulk. And what other movies came out before Civil War?
Winter Soldier?
No, I'd rather watch Hulk than Winter Soldier.
What? Freaking how?
We will disagree respectfully on that one.
No, absolutely not. I will fight you to the death on this.
Well, that's not
Winter Soldier. Yeah, we'll fight about that in the Winter Soldier review.
Yeah, okay, but so that's pretty much where the movie ends. Mm-hmm. Hulk goes out into hiding, and he's doing his meditation and trying to control the Hulk.
And then he turns into the Hulk. He opens
smiles.
He opens his eyes, and they're green in the end.
Yeah.
The original deleted scene was he goes up to Siberia and he kills himself. He shoots himself in the head and winds up as the Hulk. And he smashes the ice, and then Captain America flies out.
Yeah, you can see Captain America in an ice block.
Yep.
Interesting. That would have been kind of cool, I guess. I don't know that I would have loved that. I really like the end stinger with him.
Yes, I did like it.
It's pretty good. It is canon, him killing himself because
he says it in Avengers. Yeah.
So, but that's the scene. They did film it. It's a deleted scene on the DVD. Yeah, and then you get the post-credit scene, or I think it's a mid-credit scene in this movie. I don't think it's a legit post-credit scene. Tony shows up and he's like,
he talks to
"Hey, what's up,
Ross.
Thunderbolt Ross? We're assembling a team." Which doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things because
this takes place in universe after Iron Man 2 when
does
Stark,
it?
Yeah,
I thought
Stark
this took
agrees
place
to be part of
right
S.H.I.E.L.D.
after Iron Man 1.
No.
Okay, well then
Well,
that
it
does
still
make
makes sense after 1 because
because
Fury
in
tells
2
him that he's making a team.
Yeah, but in Iron Man 2,
Oh, he's still not
Tony's
a part of it.
Tony's
He's
like,
still
I'm not going to be a part of your little boy band.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, then that does make sense. Never mind. That works great.
So that's the Hulk. Right there.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the Incredible Hulk.
Although
Not the Hulk.
once
this is not the goddamn Hulk.
Once you start Avengers, Tony does have that line with Coulson where he's like, "Is this the stupid Avengers thing you were going on about? I thought I wasn't going to be a part of that because I'm not good with playing with others." So,
but that's still. So the way, here's how it goes. In Iron Man 2, they're like, he reads the review and he's like, "Oh, Romanoff says that Iron Man's suitable for the Avengers, but you are not."
Iron Man, yes. Tony Stark, no.
Yeah, and he's like, we want you as a consultant. And he's like, "I won't do it unless you can get that senator to speak at my thing." And the senator does. So Tony Stark is technically a consultant to S.H.I.E.L.D. and he goes out to try and recruit the Hulk. Gotcha. So it all makes sense in universe.
It all
that
works.
All still is fine.
Nice. Okay.
What works? What doesn't about the Incredible
We'll go
Hulk?
through it. Characters.
Betty Ross does not.
Betty Ross is the only one that
She's
doesn't work.
so limp fish, dead, awful character.
She's
I hate her.
much worse than the girl that played her in Ang Lee's The Hulk.
I don't remember that movie at all, but I can see how, because this chick is so dry. She has no emotion at all.
The girl in Ang Lee's The Hulk plays Karen in MCU.
Okay.
You don't know who Karen is, do you?
My mind went straight to Daredevil, so if it's not that one.
It's Spider-Man's Karen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
I still don't know who that is.
Spider-Man's AI.
Yeah, the suit that talks to him.
I thought it was Carrie. That's why I was confused. We're good.
Carrie's too kinky to be an AI.
You're right.
Yeah, she's terrible. She's awful. Thunderbolt Ross, good. I like him.
I do like him a lot.
He's literally the only reason that this is basically still part of the MCU, because he's pretty much the only tie aside from the Tony Stark cameo at the end.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because the Hulk design changed, the Hulk actor changed, all that changed. And that's another thing. I think that
Abomination is still out there. That is confirmed. Abomination doesn't die at the end of this movie. Just saying.
Abomination, good villain.
I really liked him because it's a giant monster.
Yeah. I mean, it's hero fights anti-hero, but at the time it was still pretty neat.
And I could just see two giant monsters duke it out all day, and I will never get bored of that.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a really bad movie.
And then Ed Norton. I like Ed Norton more than I like Mark Ruffalo.
I don't like Norton's Bruce Banner more than I like...
I do.
I will say I don't like Norton's Bruce Banner more than I like Ruffalo's original Bruce Banner. Because Ruffalo's current Bruce Banner sucks. But I like Norton as Bruce Banner much more in Avengers 1 and 2.
You mean Ruffalo?
That's what I meant.
Bruce Banner? No, I've always liked Ed Norton more. Ed Norton looks the part to me.
He looks cooler.
He plays the part to me.
But
Mark Ruffalo, he seems too, I don't know, he seems out of his element as him.
I kind of feel like he's just like not really. I feel like he's just. I don't want to say like he's too old, but he kind of acts like he's too old in the later movies. I feel like
he immediately comes in and he's like, "I don't want to do this Hulk thing anymore. I can't do it anymore." But I mean, I guess it makes sense for the character, but I like Norton more. Norton, I thought he did a better job as Bruce Banner.
Fair enough. Action. I think it's great.
I thought it was
really cool in this movie.
This movie had a good Venom blend of like horror-esque action with just straight up action.
Yeah. Yep. Soundtrack.
Main theme is good. The rest is completely
That's
forgettable.
exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say Hulk has a cool theme, but other than that, I can't think of a single song on this album.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yep.
And then, yeah,
That's pretty much it.
that's the movie. I usually say special effects. I thought they were relatively good in this movie.
I still think they hold up just fine in this
I think
movie.
so.
I don't
Mhm.
think the Hulk looks bad at all. And I don't even have it on high definition. I just watch it on regular, and I think he looks...
Maybe that's why.
That could be. I did notice some movies, the effects do go down in quality
Yeah.
when you watch on...
I've noticed that with a lot of Godzilla movies when I'm watching the Blu-rays and I go, oh yeah, I can see the strings.
Yep. How'd you guys feel when you were little? How do you feel now?
I think it was like my favorite movie ever when I was little, and it's
Yeah, we
like
talked
a
a bit
movie
about
that
it,
I
yeah.
like now. I like this movie a lot, but I don't love this movie like I used to.
I'd agree with that. Well, when it first came out, it was just like there wasn't much.
Right.
It was just
It was.
it was just Iron Man, and did Iron Man 2 come out? No, it didn't come
Not
out
yet,
before.
no.
But it was just like you have Iron Man or Hulk, and I was like, I liked Iron Man more, but I still really like they were like neck and neck, and now I'm just like I liked Iron Man more.
Yeah. I don't know. Back then, I probably put it at the same level as Iron Man. I wanted to watch them both about equal. They were both good to me, but not like fantastic. I was still into like Raimi Spider-Man movies, DC movies, and then these two came along, and I was like, yeah, they're kind of like X-Men to me. I'll watch them if someone else wants to watch them, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch them. I guess that's still kind of how I feel about the Incredible Hulk. I think it's okay. I really think the movie gets dragged down big time by the human parts of the movie. Specifically, once Betty shows up, it just like she sucks the life out of every scene she's in. I just think that those scenes are so much more boring than like anytime the Hulk is on screen. It's so goddamn awesome. So
Because the Hulk is cool.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's that. I
I peed.
piddle for this movie.
I peed and I filled the shoe.
Oh God.
Is that still a rating?
Yeah,
I
do have,
peed.
I have the pictures of the filled shoes.
I'd agree with Derek. I think it's just a shoe, not a pool.
No,
But,
not cool.
A tennis shoe.
Yeah,
Not like a boot, but
I give this one a piddle. So there's that. Now on to Iron Man 2.
Bum, bum,
One of my least favorite
bum,
MCU
bum.
movies. The whole theme was that.
It's
It's
Iron
like
Man 1.
Spider-Man.
No, 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 no.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2. Just watched this about
Cool, so it's
an hour
fresh.
and 21 minutes ago. Okay, shut up, God.
I almost started singing with him right as you said that.
All right, Iron Man 2. Dalton, do you know this one well enough to take us through?
Probably not the whole thing, but
Okay,
like I
well-
remember like the intro it's AC/DC, it's Shoot to Thrill, right? When he's like
Yes.
flying around, right? And then it's just like there's a huge Stark Expo going on, and he lands, and then it's like, woo! I'm Iron Man, you know. It's just his cocky self.
He's owning it.
And
he's owning it.
he just I couldn't explain every detail like you probably could,
Hit
but
us
I
with
just
the
like
plot.
the next thing I remember is he goes in and he checks his blood, and then he's got a high level of blood toxicity
yeah.
in his system, and it's because his chest piece that he's using, his arc reactor, is killing him because it's not
Yeah, the
high quality.
The element inside is unstable and it burns through quickly. And then you basically
Yeah.
learn about like Ivan, not Drago, but his last name is literally so it's like Ivan Yago or something like that. It's so
Yeah, I think
freaking
you're right.
similar. Or Ivan Dragon or something like that. It doesn't matter. It's very similar to Ivan Drago, so that's what we're gonna call him. Ivan Drago. His backstory is basically like his dad was part of Stark Industries and helped him create the arc reactor. But his motivation...
Ivan
Venko. Yeah, see, it's so similar. His dad was part of Stark Industry, helped create the original prototype for the arc reactor, but his main goal was only money, and so Howard Stark kicked him out of the company,
Yes.
which sent them into a life of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And so once his dad died, Ivan was like, I'm gonna kill Tony Stark for our parents' vendetta or something. I don't know. Ivan, he's not a good villain. I don't like him.
It's like, yeah, my dad's dead because you kicked us out or whatever, and then he's just like, and I have the plans for your arc reactor, so I'm gonna use your tech against you.
Yeah.
He builds the Whiplash suit. I mean, you don't see it for a while, but that's what he's doing. There's not a whole lot happening. There's a little bit of like, there's subplots between
Tony
Hammer,
and Pepper.
Yeah, Tony and Pepper. They
Meet,
have a bit of a fling going on.
Hammer's the
It's some
greatest
up and
part of
down.
this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
meet
have Hammer.
Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow,
Yeah.
and the boxing scene
Yep.
Yeah.
where Tony's training, and then he's just like, this is
her
basically he's like, oh, she's hot, I want her,
Yeah.
and so they hired her, and the next thing I remember is the racing part.
Yeah, that's
pretty much
basically what
the next
happens.
big
Yeah.
thing that happens. Oh well,
Yeah.
there is that good scene where they have Tony Stark on trial, and they're
Yeah.
like the military.
suit, you can't have it.
Yeah, the
Tony
military
Stark is
trying to
hilarious in this movie. This is
Robert
like the-
Downey Jr. in general is just
Yeah, but
he
this
plays
is-
the character
This
so
is
well.
like the
Yeah.
funniest I think Tony is in the movies. I think he's hilarious in this movie.
Mhm.
He gets a lot darker after this one. Well, I mean, he's fine in Iron Man. He's kind of a standoff dick like he is in Infinity War, where he's like, I refuse to get along with any of you
Oh my
guys."
god. No,
Yes.
it
Yes.
makes sense in Infinity War because no one's listening to him and his plan would have worked.
I love that. I just love Infinity War. That entire scene
That
where
was
the
so
Guardians,
awesome.
the Guardians and Tony. That later,
um,
the racing scene.
Yeah, there's also the drama that's been building between him and Hammer. Hammer's a rival company that's like he wants to make weapons, but
His
he's
are all
undercut by
horrible.
Stark all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
'cause
wants
he's
to
stuck.
build his own. Like they show videos of other people trying to make their own Iron Man suits, and Hammer's actually like breaks a guy's back because the suit
Yeah.
like completely goes like 180 with the guy inside of it.
Yeah.
Which is that conflict.
That part's hilarious.
Yeah, how he covers it up real fast. He's like, "Oh, that pilot did survive."
Yeah, he's like, I want to let
It's
you
like
know
he
that
just
that
broke his
pilot's
back.
alive.
Yeah. So then you've got the racing scene. Tony Stark, he's getting progressively more drunk in the movie to offset the effects of his
Blood.
Yeah, because
toxicity.
as we
his,
find out, like,
the thing killing him.
I guess the alcohol helps slow the process down. So like, the more drunk he is, the slower the process will be.
Right.
One thing that I did like is like the scene where he like takes it out and he like flips it upside down so you can see the bottom and like the chip comes out and
all
it's just
burned.
completely like black and like corroded. I thought that was really cool because it
Yeah.
shows you like how like he's got like an entire briefcase full of them, of just these little chips that he can put into his arc reactor so it keeps him alive. I thought that was really cool.
He decides to get in the race car, and this is where Whiplash shows up with his big old whips. Then he just starts slicing these cars in half. These poor racers just dying for no good.
It's kind of
reason.
amazing that he doesn't get hit because he
Yeah.
just walks out onto the track. That seems
But,
like a
like-
very poorly thought out plan. Also, I don't know how Whiplash anticipated that Tony would be on the track at that time.
I think he just wanted to fight Iron Man, and so
That's kind of the idea
he
that
went
I
out there
got.
to
He would have
draw
done it
Iron Man
either
out,
way,
but-
and then he just got lucky.
Yeah.
That's the idea I got.
But you know how like much he had to anticipate a car when you like you couldn't just like see it and then swipe at it when
Bro,
it's
he's
close.
got hyper reflex.
Like
all right.
like it has to be like super far away and then you like start coming down because those cars are going so freaking fast.
Well, that's why they put it in slow mo so that he could hit the shots.
Wait for it. Basically, what I remember from that is he hits Tony Stark's race
Yep.
car. He flips and does a bunch of crazy stuff. Then Happy and Pepper get onto the
I was gonna
racetrack
say
in their
Lucky.
own, with their own with their own little car, and then they have Tony Stark's briefcase.
I remember the first time watching this movie, I was like, what is so important about that briefcase? And now when you watch it, you go, oh, that's the Iron Man briefcase with the Iron Man colors.
Yeah, it clearly looks like a suit built into a briefcase.
Yeah, but the first time I watched the movie, I wasn't anticipating that, so I was
Yeah.
like, why? Why does he need that so bad?
This is probably the coolest suit transformation he has. Well, no, the Avengers one's pretty dope, but this is a pretty
This one's
cool
cooler,
one.
I think. This one's cooler, I think, yeah, for sure.
I did enjoy this scene. It's like this scene's comedy. Because Happy hits Whiplash with the car.
Yeah.
And then Tony Stark's just like, hit him again! And
He's
then,
like, "We're trying to hit me." Or yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny scene. It's also very intense too.
Mm-hmm. Because then he's like about to get in the car like it's over, and then he whips the door off.
Whips the door in half, and then he like tries to kill Pepper inside the car and misses. Yeah. I really like this scene.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He beats Ivan.
Yeah, he crushes the arc reactor,
which I thought was
that powers the suit.
Yeah, badass when he like gets whipped up and he catches the whip and like wraps it around his arm so he can't get re-whipped with it and like pulls himself all close so that he can knock him out. So cool.
And then Ivan goes to prison, and then Hammer busts him out of prison, and Hammer has him start building the Iron Man like suits for the military, but Ivan decides to turn them into drones. Meanwhile, Tony's getting progressive.
And he gets
that
his
was
bird.
Ivan's choice.
Yeah, it was.
Because he was just like, people are dumb.
Yep.
Robots will listen.
Yep.
But that's just because for his own grand scheme.
They get him a bird, but it's not his bird.
Not my bird.
What was it? Oh yeah, Tony's getting like progressively more drunk, and he throws himself a birthday party that gets out of hand, and Rhodes hops in one of the Iron Man suits.
Hops in the Iron Man suit. He hops in the first one.
Yep, the flight test suit.
The Mark II.
Yeah, they duke it out, which is a pretty good scene.
I liked that scene a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a cool fight.
It's got some good music going on to it. It's got like another one bites the dust, and then Robot Rock when they're kicking each other at the end. It's pretty good.
And I like how Tony's holding back the whole fight, and they even call him out on that. Nick Fury does, because like he knows. He's like, it's because you could, if they had done this scene differently and Tony just like beat him up, Tony would become unsympathetic. But like, you know that the reason he's doing this is because he's like dying, and so he's like just depressed, and like, you can have the suit become Iron Man because I can't be anymore.
Rhodes takes it to the military where they have Hammer start adding upgrades. He has like a big minigun and a little like grenade launcher, a bunch of little SMGs onto it, and
like a super mega missile called the Ex-Wife. Yes. The build-up scene.
Part of the movie.
I thought it was so funny how it just looks like so badass, and then it's just a beep.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Now Tony is like sitting in a donut eating donuts.
Yeah, so Nick Fury shows up and gives him the rundown. Is like, "Hey, listen, you're not dying today. You're gonna cure yourself. Here's some tapes from your dad." Gives him the backstory on Ivan Drago and all that stuff. Nick Fury leaves. Coulson's like, "Hey, I'm in charge of you, but I'm actually not because I got called out to New Mexico. We'll find out about that next week."
Well, he's just like, you're on like house arrest, kind of.
Basically,
Tony Stark's stuck in his house. They give him a bunch of crap that he's got to do.
And he leaves. He's like, he goes off to meet Pepper, and he gets her the thing that she's allergic to, so she's all cranky with him.
Strawberries.
Yep.
Yeah. And then in the background, in that same scene, he looks over and he's like, "Hey, this is the model of the city that my dad built.
Yep.
So I'm going to take this home in my sports car."
Yep. Takes it home.
I thought that scene was so goofy. I was like, literally the model of the city is way bigger than the car itself.
Yeah.
And it's just like hanging out. I was like, there's no way that would stay in his car, but it's okay.
You have that Howard Stark scene that comes right before where he's like, "My greatest creation will always be you, Tony." And then Tony like deconstructs the model and finds out that it's actually the Stark Expo. It was like a layout for a Stark Expo that never was. And he finds out that it was actually a map on a new element that exists, on how to create a new element. So he then creates the new element that will save his life, and then
the arc light.
He creates the arc reactor
using Captain America's prototype shield.
He does.
As a stabilizer.
Well, but
Coulson's like, what's this doing here?
Yeah, and that's the prototype shield is in Iron Man 1 too. It's just a very brief cameo, as in like they walk past it. It's directly used in this movie. My problem is, in Captain America, the First Avenger, we see the prototype shields, and they look nothing like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's got like holes in it, and
yeah, the only one that looks like it is the one that Cap takes, and he's like, "Let's paint this."
Yeah.
So
it's weird, but whatever. Maybe that was the prototype for what it was going to look like painted. Who knows?
Right.
I guess we don't. Anyways, he builds the arc reactor, and he's like, hey, this cool triangle thing is going to keep me alive. New suit. Boom, triangle in the suit. What else happens?
From there, Tony, Ivan finishes all of the little drones and Hammer's at the expo showing him off. And then he shows off the War Machine, which is the coolest Iron Man suit. I don't care what anybody else says.
Not.
It is.
Iron Patriot.
Rhodey's War Machine suit is so freaking dope. It looks so cool.
I'm just saying the Age of Ultron suit's better by a long shot.
So then it progresses into Ivan's controlling everything. All of the robots, and then they start attacking people, and and Rhodey's suit. Then Iron Man comes in, and he's like, all right, I gotta save everyone, and then the whole, like, thing where, like, the little kid's supposed to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead.
Black Widow gets to Hammer, his, like, workshop, basically, and, like, reboots the War Machine suit. So now Tony and War Machine team up on the big, like, group of drone suits. And that's, like, the coolest scene of the whole movie. Really the only scene that I, like, really enjoy of the whole movie.
Black Widow's fighting scene wasn't bad. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a cool scene. It's definitely enhanced when Happy spends the whole fight
with one guy.
And then she wipes them all out.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought that was hilarious. And there's, like, one guy, like, dangling from the ceiling, and he's like, I got him! And then she's gone already.
So she reboots War Machine. They both, like, team up to destroy all the other suits. Tony uses those, like, little wrist lasers to just saw them all in half. And then Ivan comes in his big, dumb new suit with his big, dumb whips. He's a big dummy.
I remember being disappointed in Ivan's showing up. I remember being like, yeah, the drones were cooler than he is.
Yeah. Big time. He's so lame. His end suit looks so stupid. It's basically just one of the drones with the big, like, dumb, like, rectangular heads, but he made it for himself so he could fit in it, so it's bigger and clunkier and it looks dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm just saying. Age of Ultron suit is cooler.
No.
100%.
I don't even like his face.
I really like the face on it. Yeah, Ivan shows up and he's like, we fight now. I feel like it's a pretty short fight.
It is. It's fairly short.
They, like, destroy him and he's like, you lose. And then, like, all the robots that they just defeated are actually bombs, and there's one right next to Pepper.
That's right. I totally forgot that happened. And then there's that weird deleted scene where they're, like, flying above them all exploding. I totally forgot about that.
I don't know.
In the movie.
I was about to say they do that. Like, he grabs Pepper, they all fly, then they go to a rooftop, they make out, and then
it's
Rhodey's
an
like, dude.
Scene.
Rhodey's like, he's like, dude, I was here first. This is my roof or whatever, and then they make a joke out of it, and then I don't remember. Oh, and then it's the part at the end where, like, Iron Man, yes, Tony Stark, no.
Yes.
When he's talking to Nick Fury.
Yeah. That's pretty much the whole movie.
And then the end credits scene is Thor.
Yeah, they drive up on the New Mexico site.
And it's like he's like, and Coulson's like, we found it, and then it zooms in, and it's Thor's hammer in a gigantic crater.
And somehow watching Thor, that was the first time I was like, it's Agent Coulson!
Yep, that's Iron Man 2. What works, what doesn't.
Okay, I don't hate this movie. I think the characters are good. I think the villain's weak. Like,
yes.
Very weak.
Like, weakest in the entire MCU.
No, because he's better than that weird elf from Thor 2. But I think he's pretty weak.
No, I like the weird elf more than I like this guy.
This guy's better. I think Hammer's hilarious.
Hammer's good. He's a fun character.
I think everyone else does a great job. I really like Tony in this movie. He's pretty funny and you feel for him. I don't care that a lot of people are like, he's drunk and I don't like him when he's drunk. He has a reason to be.
Yeah, it's not like it's just like blindly like, I'm Tony Stark, I'm going to get drunk because I can.
Right.
I'm trying not to die here.
Yeah. Don Cheadle's good.
Don Cheadle's way better than Weird Guy.
Terrence Howard. I don't think he really particularly shines in this movie.
No, he comes out. It takes him a while. It takes until...
That's just because Rhodey's such an underutilized character.
Yeah, I mean...
I think he's fine in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, he's good
I
think he's good in Iron Man 2 and 3, but I think when he shows up in Age of Ultron was the first time I was ever like, hell yeah. But even then, he doesn't do a lot in Age of Ultron. He does more in Infinity War, and he doesn't do a lot in Infinity War either. But anyways, I thought the human stuff in this movie was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's more entertaining than the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
The human stuff.
Not
the action.
The action, which is next. I think there's two good scenes. I like the race car scene, and I like the fight at Tony's house. I think the end battle has moments that are really good.
Visually, I think the end battle is really nice when they're in that, like...
biodome or whatever it is.
Yes.
I think that looks cool, and I think the back-to-back imagery of Rhodes and Tony is cool, but...
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it's just the
like I
fight
said,
goes
it has some good moments in it, and that's the good moments, is when they're fighting the drones, and then the rest of the scene is kind of boring.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, I don't remember. I think it's pretty generic in this movie.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Similar to the Iron Man 1 soundtrack, but it's nowhere near as good.
The stuff at the race car scene is really the only standout music. It's got a good hero theme there, but the rest of it's like you'll never remember it.
Yeah. And then special effects. I think the special effects in this film are fine.
Yeah.
I don't hate this movie as much as everyone else does. I don't think it's as boring as everyone else does because I find it to be interesting and good character building.
I still think bottom 5 of the MCU. Iron Man 2 is.
I might agree with that, but at the same time, I still think it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. I probably currently would put it on par with The Incredible Hulk. I think they're both about the same for me. The thing is, I think that Iron Man 2 is more entertaining as a whole, but The Incredible Hulk has better action, so it's like whatever one I'd rather choose.
In terms of when I first saw the movie compared to now, I hated this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It held the rank as like my least favorite for years and years.
And the big thing was, for me as a kid, everyone wanted to watch this with me separately. So either in like a week span, I watched this movie like 4 times and was like, I'm never watching Iron Man 2 again in my entire life because it's terrible. And last year may have honestly been the first time since the year it came out that I watched it again. Because of that.
I've watched it a few times.
Yeah. Every time anyone would turn it on, I would leave the room. I was like, I don't want to watch Iron Man 2. But
it's not that bad.
How about you, Dalton? What'd you think?
I mean, I would agree with you guys. When it was just coming out, I was like, oh, it's super awesome, but no, not as good as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. That's...
How do you put it nowadays? Is it up there or is it down there?
It's probably lower.
Yeah.
I liked it still. I'm not, like, I didn't hate it. I loved it. But, like...
I didn't hate it. I just loved it.
Okay, I said that weird. Right as I said, I was like, oh, hey, retard, what's going on?
I piddled. Just
too.
a little.
That's about as much as I would give it.
I gave it more than a half piddle, but not much.
Yeah.
I'd say more than a half piddle. I'm just going to say I piddled.
Well, I don't think there's much more to discuss.
That's the podcast.
You'll have to tune in next week to hear our conclusion thoughts on Marvel Phase 1.
Heck yeah.
What did you guys think of Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2?
And then click on this side of the screen to watch last week's episode. Click on the other side of the screen to watch the podcast of all the episodes.
Yeah, the podcast of all the episodes. The playlist, you dumbass.
That's what I said. Just edit it so that it says playlist. And then click in the middle to subscribe.
That'll do it this week. Bye.